AFC Championship gives us a battle between the kings of the AFC and a team that desperately wants to be the king but continuously falls short. The Kansas City Chiefs will be appearing in their 6th straight AFC Championship game when they travel to take on the Baltimore Ravens, who are a perennial contender but have not made the AFC Championship since 2012, the year they went on to win the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson, this is his game. This is his opportunity to dethrone Patrick Mahomes, to get over the hump, to finally get that elusive big-time playoff win and get the Ravens back in the Super Bowl, despite falling short in 2019 and 2020 in the divisional rounds. This is going to be an epic game in Baltimore. A great way to kick off Championship Sunday. It's the Chiefs and the Ravens. Winner goes to the Super Bowl, and we're here to tell you who that will be right now. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks, the spread picks for the remaining NFL playoff games, and also the spread picks for next year. It's never too early, never too late to sign up for those picks. A link for that down in the description below, and other exclusive content over on thegridironexpert.com to help you get through this football offseason, because sadly, with AFC and NFC championships and the Super Bowl, that means the football season across the board is slowly coming to an end. But the season never dies here on our channel. So make sure you go check it out. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification button so you don't miss out on any future content from now through the rest of this year. This is the place to be for all of football. So let's take a look at this game, guys. Two of the great young quarterbacks in the league, right? Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, MVPs of the league already. Have only met a few times in their careers. Patrick Mahomes 2-1 against Lamar Jackson. So these two quarterbacks have only faced off 3 times in their young careers. We'll dive into the logistics here, and we'll start with the offense with the Chiefs. You know what it is, right? It's the Mahomes and Kelsey show. That's all you're going to hear on Sunday. That's really all we hear all season long, because they truly are unbelievable. Patrick Mahomes, over 4,100 yards, 27 touchdowns this year, 984 reception yards, and 5 touchdowns for Travis Kelce this year. Ironically, this is a down year for both of them. This is a down year for the Chiefs' offense. It hasn't been nearly as explosive or as consistent as they've been in years past, as it was even last year when they went on to win the Super Bowl. You know, Mahomes 27 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. Kelce not even eclipsing 1,000 yards in the regular season. Rashee Rice has been great, over 900 reception yards and 7 touchdowns. He's been a really big bright spot at the wide receiver position, really coming into his own as the year has gone on. But that's really all Mahomes has. This has been the least talented wide receiver pass-catching core that Mahomes has really had during his time in Kansas City. Kelce is always a great option. Rice has been great. Kadarius Toney obviously is more of a hindrance than anything else. It really has not been as great of an offense as the Chiefs have wanted, averaging just a little over 360 yards per game. The really big X factor for Kansas City, though, is their running game. Mahomes is great. You never want to doubt him. You know he can deliver in the clutch anytime. But Isaiah Pacheco, over 900 yards and 7 touchdowns this year. He's a difference maker. He's a bruising running back, guys. I mean, he is a guy that when you look like you have him wrapped up for about a 2-yard gain, he keeps turning those legs and turns a 2-yard gain into about a 5 or 6 yard gain. I mean, it's unbelievable, the yards after contact, how hard of a runner he is, and the extra dimension that he gives to this Kansas City offense. It's very, very big for KC, and they're going to need that. They're going to need to be multidimensional offensively, because if it becomes just the Patrick Mahomes show or just the Isaiah Pacheco show, I don't really envision Kansas City winning this game. When you look at the Ravens, we mentioned it. This is a massive game for Lamar Jackson. They had the number 1 seed back in 2019, won the MVP that year. They fell short at home in the divisionals. They fell short in the divisionals in 2020. They have a 56-27 record with Lamar Jackson as the full-time starter in Baltimore, and yet have never made the AFC Championship game. So now they're here. They're at home. All this talk about how good he is, and he is good. This is an opportunity to silence some of the doubters, to finally get over the hump and finally get to that elusive Super Bowl that really has evaded him and the Ravens for so many years. I mean, over a decade now since the Ravens have been in the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson, though, another great year. Maybe the MVP front runner for many. Over 3,600 yards, 24 touchdowns through the air. Over 800 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns on the ground. This is a team, though, guys, that really wants to do most of their damage on the ground. You know, Lamar Jackson is averaging over 220 passing yards per game, but this is the number 1 rushing offense in the league. This is the number 1 rushing offense in the NFL. The Ravens averaging over 156 rushing yards per game. That goes with Lamar's dual threat ability with his ability to run the ball, but also a guy like Gus Edwards, who has over 800 yards and 13 touchdowns on the year. This is a team that had 229 rushing yards last week against the Texans. Lamar Jackson didn't really have to air it out all that much against Houston because the Texans couldn't stop the run. And if Baltimore can establish the run against Kansas City and get it going, that will open up the passing game for Lamar Jackson. It will open up opportunities for guys like Zay Flowers, who's been phenomenal this year, Odell Beckham Jr., Isaiah Likely, all guys that are very dangerous pass catchers. But again, Lamar Jackson has to find a way to deliver through the air. If the Chiefs bottle up the run game, if they limit the run game, Lamar Jackson has to deliver as a passer. He has 7 games this year where he has yet to eclipse 200 passing yards. Some of that is attributed to how well the ground game's doing. Some of that attributes to how well the defense is playing. But 7 games where he hasn't even hit 200 yards. And in all 3 of their losses this year, the Ravens, or 3 losses that Lamar Jackson played in, he failed to hit 250 passing yards in losses to the Colts, Steelers, and Browns. That is massive. So the Chiefs, bottle up the run game, hold Lamar Jackson to under 250, you've got the game in the bag. And that defense can do it. Kansas City's defense can do it. This is the number 2 defense in the league right now. And to me, that's kind of what's carried the Chiefs to this point, right? In a off year for the Kansas City offense, one that's really not up to par on their standards, the defense has risen to the occasion to help them get back to yet another AFC championship game. Number 2 in the league, only allowing 289.8 yards per game. They're 4th in the league against the pass, 197 passing yards per game. And they're giving up 113 rushing yards per game. Against the Dolphins in the wild card round, that electric Dolphins offense, they held Miami to 264 yards. That's it. Granted, it was very cold. Tua doesn't play well in the cold, but still, the defense did their job. Against the Bills, they allowed 368 yards of offense to the Bills. That's not encouraging, but keep in mind Buffalo did run 31 more plays than Kansas City. The biggest concern for me right now, if I'm Kansas City, from what I saw last week in Buffalo, is the fact that the Bills, despite losing, still gashed the Chiefs for 182 rushing yards. They have a mobile quarterback in Josh Allen. They had a very solid running back in James Cook. They've got the ability to run the ball, and the Chiefs allowed 182 rushing yards. The Ravens are just as good, if not better, at running the ball than Buffalo, obviously the number 1 rushing offense in the league. So if you're Kansas City, you've got to make sure you contain Lamar Jackson. You cannot allow him to scramble. You cannot allow him to pick up a first down conversion on 3rd down by using his legs. That is so killer. When it's 3rd and 10, you think you've got him, and Lamar Jackson escapes the pocket and scampers for 12 yards. I mean, it's nothing more crushing for a defense than that. So if you're Kansas City, you've got to find a way to contain Lamar Jackson, hold him in the pocket, and force him to win the game through the air, which is something that he nor the Ravens really want him to do. The Ravens, on the other hand, defensively, look, they're always nasty, right? The Ravens, that's kind of what they've prided themselves on for almost their entire franchise history, is having a very good, nasty, hard-hitting defense. And they've got that again, the 6th overall defense in the NFL, allowing just a little over 300 yards per game. They're only giving up 219 passing yards per game, only 109 rushing yards per game. They held Houston in that divisional round game to just 213 yards. Had one of the best passing attacks in the league with C.J. Stroud, averaging nearly 300 passing yards per game, and they held them to 213 total yards. The Texans never got within the Baltimore 25-yard line. Remember, the only score that the Texans had, touchdown-wise, was off of a punt return for a touchdown. The Baltimore did not allow a offensive touchdown from Houston. That's really, really impressive against that good of an offense. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, they were a different animal. You know, it's a rookie quarterback versus an already 2-time Super Bowl champion quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. A little bit different there. The biggest thing for the Ravens is you've got to limit the big plays. But the Chiefs against the Bills averaged 7.7 yards per play. 7.7 yards per play, nearly picking up a first down on every play that they ran. If you're the Ravens, you cannot allow that to happen. You've got to limit the big plays. Like Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes is more than capable of delivering on a 3rd and 20. You think you've got him. He pulls out some rabbit out of his hat, and they get up a first down with a wide-open Travis Kelce. You don't know how they continue to do it. It really is just unbelievable to watch. But if you're the Ravens, you got to limit those big plays. You've got to contain Mahomes. You got to limit him through the air. Pacheco can run. He might gash you a little bit, but I'd rather take my chance at stopping Pacheco on the run game than allowing Patrick Mahomes to throw all over me. That's what you've got to do if you're the Ravens. So this game, guys, a spot in the Super Bowl, a chance for Kansas City to get what would it be now? Their 4th Super Bowl in the last 6 years under Patrick Mahomes. You know, they beat the Niners, they lost to the Bucs. They get back now with when they played the Eagles last year, an opportunity to get back again would be unbelievable. A chance to win back-to-back Super Bowls for the first time since the Patriots did it back in the early 2000s. Now facing a Baltimore team on the road looking to get back to the Super Bowl for the first time in over a decade. This is going to be a very, very close game. And I actually think despite how good these quarterbacks are, despite how good these offenses typically are, I think it's going to be a relatively low-scoring game. I don't think either team really gets above that 28-point mark. I think it's going to be relatively low-scoring. I think the defenses continue to do their job, and it's going to be one defense that makes a big play that either breaks open the game or seals the game in the end. And ultimately, I think that defense, I think that team is going to be the Baltimore Ravens. I think it's going to be the Baltimore Ravens. This crowd is going to be insane. I know the Chiefs won in Buffalo in front of an insane crowd. I know the Chiefs won. It was cold there. I get it. I mean, these are elements that the Chiefs handled last week, not with ease, but were able to handle. But Baltimore, it's going to be a different environment. It's going to be a little bit tougher. This is an environment that the Chiefs team as a whole in the playoffs are not very accustomed to. Last week was the first ever road playoff game for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. That's pretty impressive, but this is a few and far between opportunity. I don't think they're going to be able to handle Baltimore. I don't think they're able to handle that crowd. It's going to be very, very close. But in the end, Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, finally get that elusive win. They finally get back to the Super Bowl and prevent the Chiefs from possibly getting 2 in a row. The Ravens win, go back for the first time since 2012 in what will be a low-scoring game that comes down to the final seconds. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube, picking the Ravens to advance to the Super Bowl. Tomorrow, you'll find out who we think they will face in Super Bowl 58. But until then, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including those expert picks and all the exclusive content over on the gridironexpert.com. Don't miss out. Become a member of our GE Nation. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.